Compare the cloud. What do? We advise the SME marketplace from a vendor and also from a B2C point of view. On CloudTAP, how to grow your business, integrate other technologies. We're quite often thought of like the mystic megs of the cloud world, really. They're trying to predict where the cloud market's going. And it's been my job and a year of my life of travelling absolutely everywhere from most European countries, Eastern European countries, Moscow, all the US, bump into Clive quite a bit, we argue a little bit, and just advising and absorbing how other companies are selling cloud or not selling cloud, what the driving forces for cloud, what's actually stopping the adoption, right across the board. So this is a presentation I ran some time ago, but it's very pertinent about hybrid cloud, very interesting buzz, marketing spin, if you like, at the moment with hybrid technology. All of you, I guess, because you're here, want to take away of how you can help your businesses grow with cloud, or not. And maybe you're thinking about doing it. Maybe you have a reseller point of view that you want to move into a managed services position for your clients. Really, it's right across the board. I'm going to try and explain a little bit about why you would, from reselling the cloud to profit your clients, what would be best? You build it yourself, or would you take it in from a third party and resell it? Either or you can use the same provider for that. So, advantages of cloud. Does anyone know any other advantages other than the ones I've listed on the board? Flexibility, yes. Low cost, not necessarily. Automation, yes, is key. Automation is the new technology going forward. From management systems like OpenStack being the mainstay now, which it never used to be. Go back 9 months ago, there was a war raging about different technologies. CloudStack, OpenStack, Eucalyptus. Now, we're looking at... OpenStack is more of the mainstay for a cloud management platform. Does anyone know what OpenStack is? And I don't want to insult you, but hands in the air, OpenStack? Ooh, okay, so it's all gobbledygook. It's a cloud management platform in its rawest term. Let's go, I'm going to go through a bit more, rather than the advantages. Perceived disadvantages for cloud. Always in the press, someone's always getting hacked, there's always been a security breach, from large vendors to small. It's technology, it's the nature of the beast. However, through the driving force, there's always two main factors with cloud that always stick out in people's minds. Privacy, where's my data, and security, accessing that data. They're the two perceived disadvantages with cloud. In all reality, that's always been there. Always been there. Wherever I've got on-premise technology, and I have to employ someone to look after that security, that risk is still there. Data privacy issues have always been there. But it's just a perception, it's a mind shift needs to change, that actually by me giving my technology to a provider to look after, actually that's all that they do, rather than Jim and Bob, who may be looking after the InfoSec as well as the compliance and the data security, and there are issues and there are no set rules that they're adhering to. That's an issue. So for me, there should be no adoption for cloud. And if you haven't done it, why would you do anything else? It just makes good sense. So like I said, in a nutshell, they've always been here, but you've never been noticing them before. End user clients never really noticed it because it wasn't really an issue and it wasn't really cloud centric. So what's in it as a cloud point of view? There are probably about 15 variances that I could list out. 4 is easier. You've public cloud, co-tenanted cloud. We've got Microsoft here today that will probably be grabbed. Oh, he's ducking the bullets at the moment. Would be interested in public cloud, Azure, etc., AWS, intermediate public cloud. Co-tenanted. There are some issues around public cloud for your technology, but reselling is good. You can resell public cloud very, very simply. Private cloud, there you go. My infrastructure is hosted in somebody else's premises, and it's only my infrastructure. Whether it's on bare metal servers that I own or bare metal servers that I'm renting, it's only me. I'm not sharing it with anybody else. Hybrid is a bit of a mixture. Now, hybrid, you would probably ask 5 people the same question: what is hybrid cloud? You'll get 5 answers. Anybody know hybrid cloud? Because you hear this marketing term more and more. It's the new buzz term in cloud tech. No? Okay, tough audience today. Hybrid tech. Think about centralized technology. If I wanted to connect to another data center, connect to another disparate service, that's hybrid tech. I've got on-site infrastructure, and I also have replicated infrastructure for disaster recovery as a service, backup as a service, and all the other acronyms that you probably might not have heard of. That's still hybrid. A mixture of tech. So a mixture of public, private, technology, wherever it may be. Commodity clouds you may not have heard of. This is relatively new, but back in the day, New York Stock Exchange tried commodity clouds. It's not commoditization of clouds, it's actually creating a community for commodity clouds. So what that is, New York Stock Exchange created an ecosystem so financial institutions could just plug into that. So they had all the feeds, they had all the data feeds, they had all the Bloombergs, the Reuters Cobra, or Thomson Reuters now, and other information feeds in already, so it made sense. So I would just literally jump on that cloud. I don't have to pay for all this separate infrastructure. So essentially creating a community, which is a lot easier. So, where would you use these in your business? I presume that most of you resell already. Most of you are managed service providers, I presume. Cloud case uses, public. Very simple. What would I use a public cloud for? DevOps being a new buzzword as well, development operations. Very flexible. I can buy some infrastructure, rent it by the hour if I really need be, the month, the day, the week, and it's flexible. So if I have a development lifecycle project, I can just, rather than buy all the chunky servers that need to maintain that and work my way through, I just rent it. It makes perfect sense to do so. Big data projects. Anyone heard of big data, surely? Please? Yay! Fantastic. Big data, fantastic. It is the future, trust me. Whether you're marketed by big data or actually being marketed from with big data, that is going to change the way we work. All of this unstructured data about all of us, about everything we do, our shopping, or this, is going to be collected and shown a predictive outcome of, oh, I like to buy Armani suits, so I'll get emails, Armani, yeah, love that. You will get this predictable outcome is coming from marketing, from technical point of view, from your shopping experience, and it's only going to increase with the Internet of Things, with everything that will be Internet enabled. And all this data it's going to capture, all of it, it's going to be so much of it, it will predict the way we live. Commodity cloud items, data backup, archiving, email service, single instances of VMs, even bare metal instances. Very good. Now this is where you would actually make predominantly a lot more revenue by reselling these out to your clients. Very flexible because they are a commodity and it works really, really well for you. Now I'll go into that a bit later. Typical private case uses. If I have regulated technology, or some of my clients may have certain compliant regulations like HIPAA from the health side of things, the governance from the FCA, from a banking, investment banking point of view, I would need to apply certain rule sets around my data, information security rule sets, policies, procedures. I cannot provide that on a publicly tenanted or co-tenanted infrastructure. Because whatever I apply, it applies to everybody. So I would then have my own infrastructure and apply that governance to that. It makes perfect sense, and it's practically the only way to do it, really. So who provides all of this? Large vendors, absolutely, like the ones before. But also, you guys, really, you can provide this. You know, never has been a day better to get into cloud services. There's no capex needed. I can rent the infrastructure and then actually pass that charge on to my client. I can manage it centrally. I'd never been able to do that. The technology is here today to do it. It's fantastic. And to be honest, why would I buy this infrastructure? There's no need for it. Even though hardware prices are falling quite dramatically, I would want to take the infrastructure from somebody, and then I could just white label it. It just makes perfect sense, and have that charge on. With hybrid, it's slightly a bit different. Hybrid technology can be difficult, can be easy. Examples of that, burstable periods. Why would I have, so for example, I am a retailer, I have infrastructure, but I know there could be really busy periods in my cycle of in business. Christmas, good example. Black Friday or Monday, whichever you want to call it. I want to burst that tech out, and I want to have the capacity, and also with voting and other things like that. So I don't have to have the accumulation of all the hardware and software and all the maintenance costs, all of that. I can just burst up, and then actually when my busy period's there, I can decrease that cost. So actually, really, it's much more effective to do it. Who would do that? Well, you should. It's perfect, the perfect reseller model. And the whole point of today is the channel and reselling. That's perfect. You know, you've got commodity items, you've got infrastructure as a service to a degree that you can resell your clients. And it's as you, but it's a regulated point of view from a tiering level, very highly secure point of view. Take that service from someone else. Do you want that headache of doing it yourself? Creating this ecosystem that you have to support, you have to maintain? No, absolutely not. I wouldn't. And I've run 2 MSPs in my lifetime, and it's a difficult thing running a service business, without any doubt. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of hard work. Now, I can just rent it from someone, and that's all that they do. And I just manage it. You end up becoming cloud brokers, which actually is probably the future, in all fairness, of broking that technology to your clients. Absolutely. So, the future, what does it hold? I call it hybrid is the future. Yes, it is. One cloud does not fit all. One example of an IT solution doesn't fit all, as you probably know with all of your clients. Everybody will have different requests, different information that they want to be stored, different ways of accessing it. Hybrid is just another version of hybrid technology, like a hybrid car. I can run petrol, I can run it on water to a degree, and others. I can choose which one I want to do. Hybrid just enables you to have that infrastructure, and then I can go, okay, through advanced APIs out to other services, I can just link into disparate services that you've probably never heard of, but your clients may be wanting a new piece of technology. Actually, I have an API to that trading provider around the corner. I don't have to implement any tech. It's already links into my centralized infrastructure, and this is only going to speed up. Only going to speed up. So really, what's pertinent for you guys is, do you build it or do you buy it? Distinguish that term. Do you build it? If you are a reseller, consider moving to managed services. Absolutely. I'll tell you a horror story from one good friend of mine who runs a reseller business, and called after the fact, sadly, but one of his most loyal clients for about 15 years, and it's an international company. He said, you know what, I really need to get into this cloud tech stuff, you know, I've got all this on-site technology over 15 different locations. I've got to centralise it. And he phoned a friend of mine. He said, we don't really do cloud, but we can look into it and enabling how to do. Okay, 1 month later, his client gone. got to somebody else. Because they said, yeah, we can do this. No problem. In fact, I've got a tool that goes click, click, and there's my data. And in fact, all my services come in. Now, the loyalty is gone at that point, sadly, and that's a very loyal client that he had. But he enabled it. He had the ability to give him what he wanted. And as a reseller, you need to know that. You need to know your clients and create that reoccurring revenue. Create that managed services for you, for your business, for your clients. Because they will go. Everyone can Google. Everyone semi-educated in cloud tech. And unfortunately, a little bit of education in cloud is pretty bad, really. Everyone thinks they know what they're talking about. If you're an MSP with cloud ambitions, then you're going to think. It's a simple transition for you anyway, because in all fairness, you've been doing it already. You just probably didn't realise it. Cloud is simple. Cloud is not difficult. Cloud is centralised technology. It's not incomprehensible that you can migrate your clients to it. It's how you do it, the quality that you migrate to, and also the service after, because that's really, really key. Nothing worse than migrating your clients to a centralised technology and wishing they hadn't. And they will just not long be a client. So, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service. Does everybody know what these two terms mean? Platform as a service? Just say yes or put your hand up, yeah. Yeah. Infrastructure service? These terms have been done to death. I don't particularly like acronyms, but unfortunately the cloud industry has created so many of them, it can be quite confusing. Infrastructure as a service, the glue that holds it together, your infrastructure, whatever it is, however it's portioned up, whether it's several virtual machines, whole infrastructure, just it's stuff, it's your tech stuff. The platform is the next level up. I can offer a platform as a service, whether it's a CRM, email, etc., etc. They are platforms offered as a service. So normally you have it work, people work up a stack. So providers like yourselves will go, okay, infrastructure service, it's a blank canvas. How do you want, and what do you want it, and where do you want it? Then you move up another level of stack. Platform. What can I offer out of that infrastructure? How can it work? Or what should I be delivering? And eventually you get to the Shangri-La, software as a service. Easy to manage, applications delivered, seamlessly to the client, not to you, because you've got all these commingled services in the background. However, that's all they care. Application is king for the end user client. So, cloud toolkits. I mentioned about this. How do you enable that to happen? Really? Look at APIs. Anyone know what an API is? I've put a description up here, but this has become prevalent over the last 2 years of connectivity out to other services through your infrastructure. Offer as much as possible, or go to people that can, because this is coming. Other services are out there. They just want to connect. And the more you can connect and enable your clients to use, the more they're going to value you. Without any doubt. So they can switch on services like that through an API into another service. So it just link and it will work. Reach out to cloud providers, like Intermedia, Microsoft, others. Big vendors that can enable it. Why would you want to actually create your infrastructure yourself? Nobody would, really, not anymore. People are born onto the cloud with the technology now. You don't have a requirement, and I can't, if anyone has an objection, please tell me, and I will try and argue the case. There is not a case for local technology anymore. No. Only the end user device. iPad, smart tablets now. You can do as much as you can as a PC. I even saw an advert, I think it was only last night, about, I think it was HP and Microsoft with their £200 streaming turbo. Was it streaming? Yeah. Appealing to the younger generation that has no money. And great, I can now have a PC with 200 quid. It's not really a PC, but it streams. It's good. For internet-enabled services, absolutely. A bit like the old netbooks of old, but a bit more stylish. And Absolutely. Reach out for these guys. And look for scale. Why, you've got to look for the scale. Software, hardware provisioning. These days are over. I can't stress it enough from the years' worth of travel that I've done all over the world. From all throughout Europe, Eastern Europe, different ways of doing it. Throughout the US, different ways of doing it. There's no one consistent way of providing IT cloud services. So Shepherd's Crook's going to come off in a minute. So look at opportunities. It's a level playing field now. You can do commodity services, perfect for you to start getting on the cloud bandwagon. Quite literally, start that with your clients. Absolutely. Infrastructure services, absolutely perfect. Here's the glue waiting to be added to. Ask your client what they want. Really. Migration services from one site to the cloud. Perfect. Get that right and your client will stay with you forever, because very few people do. Believe you me, and that's globally. Consultancy services. You can add on those migration services for your business and others to generate more revenue. And also management services. New concept, build and ship. Very interesting Dutch company I come across in the Netherlands. They actually pre-built hardware. It's really, really funky. Pre-built the hardware with the cloud management platform, so OpenStack, with all the platform that they wanted to run on that. And they said, and you actually pre-built it, pre-configured it, a bit like buying a Mercedes. Not quite really, but not one of these ones anyway. And then said, right, what data center do you want it housed in? I said, how innovative is that? Crazy. They said, yeah, I want that 100 miles away. Yeah, great, no problem. And they went, installed it, configured it. Very, very innovative. So you had even more choice. It's incredible. Other considerations, I'm going to whiz through because I'm going to run out of time, because normally it's an hour presentation. Big data, look at that. Take those services. Your clients will use big data. And I'm shoving it down your throat a bit today, but big data will be very prevalent in your business. Very much so. And here's why. Market territory. I wish I could take responsibility for this graph, but I can't. The BSA did a 3-year study about cloud adoption, predominantly for software prioritism, but they asked a lot of other questions at the same time. And you can see for the rankings. Now, Japan, number 1. Can you believe that? Yes, probably. Australia, US, Germany, Singapore, France, UK, right down the rankings. And this is over 24 countries. And the biggest significant changes, and you can see the driving force for cloud. Singapore and Canada increased dramatically. Why? Increased data privacy laws. And come back about the perception. Doesn't really matter. Nobody abided by it then anyway. And just because the law's about now, the perception has changed. Oh, it's safe. Great. Doesn't mean to say their providers abide by it, but the laws are there. Italy and Spain go down. Economic issues, and the ICT infrastructure is still maturing. When we look further on, Malaysia, still up there in the rankings. Russia has moved up 2 points from last year. Why? Again, ICT infrastructure and copyright laws. Perfect. And you see now, it's the perception of it. I've done a lot of work in Moscow, and quite literally, their infrastructure is definitely gaining momentum. However, there still is a security, I won't say issue, but assumption that it's not secure. So, quick run through how I think it links together. Software-defined networking enable you to extend your enterprise to pretty much anywhere. Virtual, just using software networking, if you want to describe it as such. I can extend my infrastructure via software securely to another enterprise. So I could be hosted in 4 or 5 data centers, but actually to you, be managing it, but to your clients, it would be one. It's not just infrastructure though. Applications are king. It's all about the apps that you and your clients will be using. You need to make sure, this is a bit techie, so I know that some of you might not be understand a lot of it, but this is quite key. There are main points here, not just about IT infrastructure, that you should probably take away. Securely manage and prevent data loss. Need to look at that more and more. How do you glue all of this together? How do you look after it? How do you manage it? I wouldn't want to. I'd give it to somebody else, to be honest with you. And how are you securing inbound and outbound HTTPS and AD and SAML v2? Authentication traffic, how do you secure that? And how do you ensure an app is fit for purpose? It's your job to ask your clients that. You have the right answers for that, you can recommend the right service. But very briefly, because I've got about 4 minutes left, or 5 minutes, I'm not far off, I'm going to give you some trends from most of the world that are on the rise. So what we've seen in our travels, through airports to meetings to vast amounts of disparate meetings. Single sign-on is one of them. There's 4, so I'll be very quick, a minute per slide. Nobody likes to remember passwords. Most people still write them down or put them on their phone. That's just reality of it, as we're human. But single sign-on will cache those for disparate, for if you want to log into LinkedIn, Facebook, other applications. I have one that federates them all. So much easier. And your clients will love you for it, for recommending it. Absolutely love you for it. SDN, as I said before, a little bit more of a nice little slide, how we can federate across different data centers and applications. Perfect for disaster recovery, perfect for any other service you want to offer, and just extending the enterprise out. You may have an enterprise already in one location, but if you extend it out to another location, there may be other providers you can partner with to offer your clients that, as you. Intermediate prime example of that, offer that out. You've got a one-stop shop, and that's where it's going. Automation and a marketplace for you, for your clients. Much better to perceive it and deliver services that way. Big data on the rise. I can't say this enough. We'll all be using it. In fact, we're all part of it already. There's data about you already that's all being captured. In fact, the government voted for a digital verification now, so everything about us is digital, and everything's going to be measured. There are toilets that have internet connectivity, and that's crazy, really crazy, and they're rife in Japan, and that's just one element of it. That actually will work out how many times you flush the toilet, and it's great in OAPs, in old age people's homes, because you can then get a trend of, oh, they're not going to the toilet so much, or they're going too much. Then you see a trend of, are they ill, are they not ill, are they not drinking much tea? And that's just one element of it, but it's the marketing understanding goes beyond that. Social. How many people are on social media? Come on. Is that all? Is that all? Hey. Social media, you've got to get on it. You can broadcast stuff, millions of people, and your clients are on it. You know, they are on it. They want to be on it. You've got to be on it. It really gets real. You've got to be on it. Not only that, if you're on social media, engage, talk to people. Don't be like a Microsoft or HP that when you tweet to them, they never reply. Sorry, but it's true. I tweet regularly with large providers, and very few actually reply. I think it's whether it's personal with me or not, I don't quite know yet. But last but not least, development operations. DevOps. DevOps is key. DevOps spurned the whole OpenStack industry of cloud management. So I can develop to operations like that. I don't need staged information service. I don't need regression testing service. I can create this all on the fly. IBM have a good example of that with Bluemix. In fact, it's one of the few that I've seen that are pretty good, really. They've got like over 3,000 APIs. And I talk about APIs, application programming interface calls to other systems. So I can build, develop, I need to add in an automatic backup functionality. Boom, click. I've got an API for that. Yeah, I'll connect to that. And that is it. And that's how easy it was. Before, I'd need servers, I'd need software, I need an admin to configure it. And do it within minutes. It's, what to say? I'm a big cloud advocate, as you're probably aware. I'm quite passionate about it. And thank you very much for listening to me rant. And any questions, please.